Namaste and very warm welcome, friends, to our weekly virtual speaker series on Ayurveda, the pharmacological and therapeutic effects of top 75 traditional Ayurvedic medicine. Today is our sixth session on Brahmi Ghrita, and our special presenters are Dr. Anagha Ranade, Research Officer, CCRAS New Delhi, and Dr. Naveen C. Joshi, Associate Professor, Uttarakhand Ayurvedic University, Dehradun, India. A very warm welcome to you both, and thank you for joining. Friends, our special guest today is Dr. Geeta Krishnan Gopal Krishna Pillai, who is working with the World Health Organization at Geneva as a technical officer at the Traditional Complementary and Integrative Medicine Unit. And his role is to support the objectives of WHO to integrate traditional medicine into the national health systems of its member states. It is a very, very important and crucial role. And sir, we are very much honored and privileged to have you with us, and a very warm and special welcome to you. And thank you for joining. First and foremost, we also want to commend, applaud, and congratulate WHO for its step to set up the Global Research Center for Traditional Medicine in India, the groundbreaking of which happened in April 19 of this year. And it's a very timely step, and it's a need of the hour to improve global health holistically. In this regard, I also want to mention that Canada-India Foundation facilitated an MOU with All India Institute of Ayurveda and University Health Network. UHN is a public research and teaching hospital network in Ontario, Canada. It is the largest health research organization and ranks first in Canada for its total research funding. It was also named Canada's top research hospital by the Research InfoSource from 2015 to 2021. And this MOU signing took place at the groundbreaking ceremony in the presence of Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, and WHO Director General, Dr. Tedros. And we have also set up a $1 million joint research funding on integrated medicine in the 4 key areas: diabetes, heart disease, kidney, and cancer for this cause. And friends, our other special guest is Honorable Kobi Sushani, who is currently serving as a Consul General of Israel to Mumbai. And he's the official representative of state of the Israel in Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and Goa. And with over 3 decades of very, very illustrious experience and career. And we are looking forward to a great insight from our speakers and as well as our presenter this morning. This is a very exciting session. And we have our moderator, Dr. Madan Thangavelu, with us. Thank you once again for championing, session every week. And looking forward to a great, exciting session today. And Dr. Madanji, over to you.
Satishji, namaskar. Thank you so much for introducing our session today. And we are very fortunate that you are providing a very important place in fostering relationships between Canada and India. Canada-India Forum, of course, is a very central element in this interaction that's developing between India and Canada. Now, for all of you who are here with us, we are fortunate to have 2 wonderful speakers, one joining from Delhi and the second joining us from Uttarakhand, the land of the gods, as they say in India. And we are fortunate to have 2 guests, special guests here with us. Dr. Geeta Krishnan, who's joining us from Geneva. Geeta ji, namaskar. And our second esteemed Consul General for Israel joining us from Mumbai. Now, before I proceed, I share the floor, I pass the floor on to Harish Verma ji, Harishji, namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. So first of all, I welcome Dr. Geeta Krishnanji on this webinar. It's very important today. Namaskar, Dr. Geeta Krishnanji. Okay. So friends, today we will have a webinar on Brahmi Ghrita. And I welcome Dr. Anagha and Dr. Naveen Joshi ji. So Dr. Madanji, kindly start the webinar. Kindly moderate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Harishji. Thank you. Geeta ji, namaste.
Namaste, Madanji. Can I request that, I join, I will listen, but I will not be able to speak. The problem is, my camera is going to be off. If you give me half an hour, I will plug it in and,
Okay.
then I will speak.
I know. Thank you. Thank you, Geeta. We know you are you've just got off the flight from Delhi to Geneva. So we will let you proceed to go to give you the time so that you can join us when you're ready. So please.
Yeah. So what I will do is, as soon as I'm able to find a plug point, where I can sit comfortably, I will join, and then I will keep you informed, and then probably I'll speak. I'm not okay. Right. See you.
Thank you.
See you,
Thank you,
Madanji.
Geeta. Welcome to Geneva and welcome to Canada. Thank you. We look forward to interacting with yourself. Namaste. Thank you. Harishji, thank you. As we know, Geeta ji he keeps a very busy schedule traveling between Geneva and India and other countries in the Southeast Asia region and other parts of the WHO. And he's just got off a flight coming from India. So we will wait till he's connected to a power source so that we can continue with the interactions with Geeta ji. In the meanwhile, could I request Naran ji just to share a few words? Naran ji, namaskar. Thank you for joining us from Delhi today.
Thank you, Madanji. It's been our 4th week in discussions with it. There is a lot of intense interaction from researchers, scholars, and medical practitioners in the field of Ayurveda. I think it's a grandstand to look at the collective potential of various elements of the Ayurvedic value chain and looking at some incredible examples. It's been a fantastic learning. We have had, for the benefit of the audience, we've had many countries, few of them who are participating in this. And step by step, we want to make this truly a global event. We have a big vision in mind, plan to bring in various elements of international bodies, various governments, and to be part of this exciting so that we collectively create a great revolution to provide a traditional medicine and traditional Ayurvedic medicine as an alternative to the problems which it's a race against humanity for providing wellness, good health, especially post-pandemic. There is also a lot of reports coming about pandemic preparedness. The world is worried about how do we prepare for ourselves for the next pandemic. The vaccines are going to be, we don't know what's going to come next. We don't know what's in sequence. So the whole world is worried and looking at alternatives to provide better health and prepare the world for a pandemic response. And also, it's just a little off the subject, but I have had several conversations with world leaders. If you look at this pandemic, several countries did selfless voluntary service in supporting. Even a small nation like Oman, they helped 18 countries, and India country supported some 70 odd countries, and so does many other geographies. So, but there is no method of providing an organized support and preparing the world for such pandemic. And in wellness space, I think Ayurveda plays a very, very critical role. How we put together and go to the people and across the human endeavor across the world in providing a very compelling solution using traditional medicine. It's an integrated holistic medicine, including the entire value chain of healthcare. I think it's a great opportunity. I really wish to contribute as much as I can to make this into a worldwide movement. And many interests are coming up. We will expand this to as many countries as possible. I wish all the technical experts and Ayurvedic practitioners all the very best, and look forward to being associated with this till we truly make our dreams come true.
Naranji, thank you. Thank you so much. We are fortunate to have you advising the Canadian College of Ayurveda and Yoga seated in New Delhi. And you've been a source, again, a big source of strength. You've introduced many valuable, very inspirational people to our platform. We've had a member of parliament from Kenya recently. We've had the ambassador to Somalia, to the European Union here with us. And thank you for guiding us in this effort. And as you correctly say, forming an international network is a challenge. And we will hear about this, the challenges of diplomacy and the challenges of connecting nations together, and the work that WHO is doing to make this happen, and the big role that Canada has in this whole networking, and particularly oiling the machines of the wheels of interaction with money, with funds. And Canada is a very important player in this. They are the 5th largest member state donor to the World Health Organization's global funds. And we will hear about this from Ghita ji a little more, about the work that's going on in Geneva, the work that's going on in the 6 different regions of the World Health Organization, the work that is expected at the Global Center for Traditional Medicine in Jamnagar in Gujarat, and what kind of leadership role India is playing in all of this. We will hear about all this from Ghita ji as soon as he is connected to a power source and he's free to talk to us. So without spending too much time, I just want to take this moment to introduce our 2 experts today, coming from New Delhi, from the Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, Anaga, Dr. Anaga, and Dr. Ashlesh joining us from Chicago. Welcome both of you to the platform. While we wait for Ghita ji to join us, and our Council General joining us from Mumbai, while we wait for them, we should proceed with the program. So without wasting too much time, please let us proceed to our first expert presenter. We will, because Ghita ji is traveling and he's setting himself up to connect with us, we will change the format slightly. We'll bring Ghita ji as we proceed in the program. So Anaga ji, thank you so much for joining us today from New Delhi. And thank you for being our expert speaker today to talk about this amazing formulation. Now, before we get started, Naranji mentioned about pandemics and epidemics and the kind of global health challenges. And many people don't realize that mental health and aspects of mental health is a global challenge. And what we are going to talk about today is a formulation that's known to Ayurveda for thousands of years. And we look forward to learning from you about this amazing formulation. In our previous sessions, we've talked about the different kinds of Ayurvedic formulations. Our opening session was about Triphala, Churna, the powdered form. And then we talked about the subtle alcoholic fermented products, asavams and arishtams. And now today we'll hear about the fat-based formulations. A very crude description. My apologies for this, my way of presenting this as a fat-based procedure, but you will be able to tell us a little more. Welcome to the platform. Namaskar ji. We will please unmute Anaga and join us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you again for joining us. I also want to welcome Naveen Joshi ji joining us from Uttarakhand. Naveen ji, namaskar. And we will look forward to listening to you too from as the program continues. Thank you, Anaga.
Should I commence the presentation?
Anaga ji, before you start off, do tell us a little bit about yourself and about the wonderful organization that you are working for in New Delhi, CCRAS. Our audience would love to know about the wide network of research establishments that is managed by the Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences. Maybe just a little bit, just to inform them. Thank you.
To start with, respected dignitaries, thank you all for giving me opportunity to express my views on Brahmi Ghrita. First of all, I am Dr. Anagha Ranade, posted in New Delhi, CCRS, that is Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences. This is the headquarters, and it is the apex research organization under the Ministry of Ayush. We have total 30 centers in the periphery also with different mandates. So basically, many of them are clinical oriented. 4 to 5 are dedicated for drug development, preclinical studies, as well as related to the cultivation of medicinal plants, that is Vriksha Ayurveda. We have a center in Bengaluru, which is dedicated for metabolic disorders. Likewise, we have a very state-of-art peripheral center in Cheruduruthi, dedicated for research in Panchakarma. Then we have a center in Pune, dedicated for in vitro pharmacology. Basically, about me, I have pursued my MD and PhD in Dravya Guna. So I am a budding researcher, and I'm very much interested in deciphering the mechanism of action of Ayurvedic medicinal plants. And I know this is the need of the hour, and I thank you for providing such platform to express my views. I'm sharing my screen. Are the slides visible, ma'am, sir?
Thank you, Anagha. Perfectly visible. Thank you so much.
So to start with, I had a groundwork of the formulation, which is entitled as Brahmi Ghrita. So we have pathas, as you all are aware. So this I have grounded to one part, which is from API. So this, the classical referencing is from Ashtang Hriday Uttar Sthan. And here we can see it consists of 12 ingredients. The principal ingredient is Brahmi. Again, I'm starting this with a drug that had controversy before, because in the Nighantus, Brahmi and Mandukparni, they have been used as synonyms, but now in Ayurvedic Pharmacopoeia of India, the botanical source of Brahmi is Bacopa moneri. It is botanically totally different from Mandukparni, as the name suggests. That is Centella asiatica, and the family is Apiaceae in case of Centella asiatica, whereas it is Scrofulariaceae in case of Brahmi. Followed by Shunthi, that is Zingiber officinal, Marich, Pipali. So this forms Trikatu, which is a very potent formulation again, which is used individually also in Ayurveda. Trivruta, Danti, Shankhapushpi, Nrupadrum, that is Aragvat, Saptala, and Krumihar, that is Vidanga. So now this is just a glimpse about the Rasa Panchak, because whenever we want to share the drug mechanism as per the Ayurveda fundamentals, we ought to know about the Rasa Panchak. In particular, that is Rasa, Virya, Vipak, Gun, followed by the Prabhav. So Bacopa moneri is Tikta Rasa Pradhan, Shita Virya, and Madhur Vipak. So at a glance, we can see that major drugs are Tikta Ras Pradhan and Ushna Viryatmak, followed by Katu Vipaki in this formulation. So coming to the classical indications of these formulations, it is firstly indicated in Unmad. This is a group of mental disorders comprising symptoms like delusions, hallucinations, and dysfunction of cognition. We have dedicated chapters in the Bruhatrai for the same, followed by Apasmar, that is mental disorders comprising of seizures leading to loss of consciousness, loss of memory, and cognitive decline. Smriti, that is memory, and Medha, that is promotion of intellect. So when I searched for papers on Brahmi Ghrita, the composition mentioned in AFI, that is the 12 ingredients that I have mentioned, I got this publication, which comprised of the efficacy of integrated yoga and Ayurveda Rasayana, which is the Brahmi Ghrita I mentioned, on cognitive functions in elderly, that is geriatric population. So here it was used as one of the interventions along with yoga, which exhibited significantly improved learning, attention, processing speed, and working memory. Combined therapy has provided better outcomes. The link has been provided. I'll come to that later. I also got a review on the neuroprotective action of this formulation. This manuscript provides an overview of this based on Rasapanchak. The maximum contents of Brahmi Ghrita, as I previously stated, possesses Trikatu ras, Katu vipak, and Ushnavirya. Among the ingredients, cow's ghee, that is go Ghrita, Brahmi, Shunthi, Shankhapushpi, and Trivrut, that is operculum nut arvatham, have been attributed with neurocognitive functions. In our texts, other drugs like Shama, Aragva, Danti, Saptala are purgative in nature. So, reading between the lines, this formulation consists of two types of drugs, one which are acting on the gut and one which are totally dedicated and attributed for the neurocognitive function. Now coming to the basics of Ayurveda fundamentals in neurocognition. The basic doctrine of three dosh states that Vata, Pitta, Kapha are the energies regulating the physical and mental functioning of human body. Pitta is responsible for understanding and grasping knowledge due to its sattva, ashukari, and tikshna property. Vata is responsible for association of ideas, and Kapha provides stability. So it can be correlated with retention of memory, that is dharana shakti. Similarly, sattva corresponds to pitta, raja corresponds to vata, and tama corresponds to kapha. These are the manas guna. These are stated to govern the functions of brain and intellect in humans. It is the proper combination of the pentad, that is the rasapanchak, in the above medicinal drugs that aids in altering the deranged mechanisms of cognitive functions as per Ayurveda. Pharmacological actions of the drugs. Now, if we look into the modern perspective of the pharmacological activities of the individual ingredients of this formulation, almost all drugs have reported ACHE inhibitory properties and antioxidant properties. Shunthi, Brahmi, Shankhapushpi, Trivrut, Vidanga, Pipali have been reported for their role in amnesia, Alzheimer's, and neurotrophic action using suitable animal models. Certain clinical studies also have been carried out with the enriched extracts of individual drugs. This is in case of Brahmi and Shankhapushpi in particular. Now, just a food for thought. Why would the combination be so? The etiology of Manas Vyadhis in Ayurveda are fundamentally linked to faulty dietary habits and lifestyle changes which derange the gut functions and then they later manifest the symptoms of various mental disorders. Thus, the possible role of purgative drugs and metabolism enhancers which act on the Agni Vardhan karma in this formulation could be improving the gut-brain axis by altering certain microbial consortia. And in the following papers, it is already proved that the brain-gut microbiota axis has a role in psychology. the gut microbiota links the dietary phenols with management of psychiatric mood disorders. So upcoming studies related to gut microbiota are again giving us a food for thought, and also we can research in this direction to find out the drug mechanism of this formulation in toto. Conventional cognition-related models like Morris maze, elevated plus maze, passive avoidance test, behavioral models, spatial learning models, etc., aim to directly target the neurocognitive functions for all the available plants that are reported to be helpful in promoting intellect. So not only the plants mentioned in this formulation, but if we go and search for neurocognitive functions of medicinal plants, we get almost every plant has been reported for either of these actions. So then again, the question arises that what is the fundamental of Ayurveda then for promoting certain group of drugs only for cognitive functions? Ayurveda has laid certain criteria dependent on age, dosha involved, dhatu, that is tissue level metabolism, constitution, that is prakriti, and also etiological factors like faulty dietary habits, and also depends on the behavioral conduct. All these criteria influence the agni, that is the metabolic status of the individual, and thus manifest the pathology in tamas and rajas gun derangement, which leads to the functional deficits of intellect and memory. Thus, pharmacological models should be developed to assess these etiological factors, which will then give impeccable leads to drug mechanism in Ayurveda. Now, in geriatric population, conduction of impulses and synaptic function loss is reported. So how can Ayurveda drugs intervene? It can be corrected by administering drugs that alleviate vat function and promote nutrition by madhurras and ushnavirya dravyas. So choosing drugs based on the virya, because in the case of intellect, smruti, dhruti, smruti, and dharana shakti. So for kapha related purposes, we can use madhurasatmak dravya. In degenerative disorders, we can use madhur shita viryaatmak dravya. So likewise, but again, it also must be assessed depending upon the criteria that I have given in the previous slide. Likewise, in pediatric population, if irritability is more along with memory loss, it will be more advisable to administer madhur tikta and shita virya for enhancing grasping power and restoring the sadhak pitta functions. Abhipretartha sadhana. Possible solutions for screening the complex herbal formulation. This is a very common question that we face as Ayurveda physicians regarding the mechanism of the formulation in toto. So we can use multi-omics approach in clinical trials as well as in characterizations of crude drugs or whole plant extracts, because Ayurveda totally resides on holistic approach, and that's why plant extracts should be also characterized as a whole. Again, this is a Ghrit-based preparation. So blood-brain barrier studies for Ghrit and oil-based formulations can be used specifically targeting the cognitive models. Thirdly, deducing assessment for drug delivery fundamentals of Ayurveda. We in fact have so many dosage forms and so many other therapies like Nasya, which can be used and adopted also in public domain and also by modern physicians if we are ready to give the solutions for screening. Targeting the drug-drug interaction and their links with gut microbiome. Also, in silico approaches along with network pharmacology, which can give leads for further screening. Now, before concluding, I would also like to share that I have gone through the market preparations that are in name of Brahmi Ghrita. So there are many combinations of drugs used starting from 1 to 2 up to 15 to 16 drugs with herbominerals, because in Bhaishaja Ratnavali, Brahmi Ghrita consists of minerals like bhasma formulations, bhasma contents, and they are given in the Jwara Adhyay. But in AFI, there are two possible combinations. One consists of Kushtha and Shankhapushpi. There are only 4 drugs. But again, the Ghrut that is mentioned is Puran Ghrut. So we have a challenge in also analyzing and standardizing the Purana Ghrut. It is a challenge because this is the USP of Ayurveda, that we prescribe lipid-based formulations and also have a certain shelf life mentioned. Now, Puran Ghrut is, we have used this as 10 years old. So what is the difference between the constituents of fresh Go Ghrut and Puran Go Ghrut? I have also come across some studies where they have taken the rancid value, saponification value, etc. And they have come up to certain preliminary results. And we are in a right direction, but we must go forward to be at par and to be answerable. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Anaga, thank you so much for a very succinct, very clear presentation. Now, for a lot of people who are familiar with Ayurveda, many of the things that you have alerted us to will be easy to appreciate, but there may be listeners amongst us who might not know all the details that you've touched on and mentioned the last bit that you mentioned about standardizing Ghritas, Ghee, and the age of the Ghritas. Many people listening to us who are not familiar from the world of Ayurveda will not know that in Ayurveda, the age of the Ghee, older the Ghee, greater its potential, therapeutic potential and value. And the second other things that you mentioned very briefly, I'll list through. One is the Ayurvedic Formulary of India, AFI. You very briefly mentioned, you used the acronym Ayurvedic Formulary of India. I just want to take a minute just to share this for those who are listening to us here or watching us on YouTube. You can get to hear about, learn a little more about the Ayurvedic Formulary of India from the Department of Dravya Guna Vigyan, from the Government Ayurveda College in Thiruvananthapuram, which is the capital of the state of India. And in here in the EIU Formulary of India, you can see all the documents that are listed here. Now, incidentally, this is also the Ayurveda College from where our special guest for today graduated. Geeta Krishnanji studied in the Government Ayurveda College in Trivandrum. And we are very fortunate to have Geeta ji here with us. I don't know if he's available to join us. If he's still unable to join, then we will move to the next speaker. But before I go to the next speaker, another very important point that you mentioned, Anaga ji, is that phrase, reading between the lines. And you took us deep into some principles. Again, those who are not familiar with the depth of Ayurveda and the concept of Rasa Panchaka, how Ayurveda describes herbs and their properties, they will be at a loss. But that is the logic that we want to connect with. And you touched on that one important phrase to all of us, another one, the gut-brain axis. And again, I'm taking the liberty of sharing my screen here just to connect this with our colleagues here who are making putting a lot of energy to connect with research at the university health networks. And for those viewing us online, if you can search the research projects going on at the University of Health Networks, and here are 2 researchers working on gut-brain axis. And perhaps Canada-India Forum and the Canadian College for Ayurveda and Yoga will be able to make connections with scientists like Olga Rogers at the Krembil Research Institute, working on many of these aspects on aspects to do with neuroinflammation, neurodegenerative disorders, the gut-brain axis, and also other researchers within the University Health Network. So what you have offered us today, Anagaji, is a wonderful, but a very brief and very concentrated presentation on the ingredients that go into this formulation, how it is to be used. Let us move on to our next speaker. Harishji, please.
Yeah. And before we move to another, our next speaker, I would like to ask one question from Dr. Anaga. If yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You have mentioned that Brahmi Ghrita is a combination of two types of ingredients. One are neuroprotective or cognitive enhancer, and other are the laxatives, particularly Trivrit, Danti, both Trivrit, and then the Aragvad. So by adding laxative, is it possible that we are destroying the absorption of the active ingredients? Normally, it's a practice. In our practice, we avoid laxative with the active medicines. Generally, there is a fear that we may lose the absorption of the active ingredients if we are giving laxatives along with the active ingredients. So, what is your opinion? Or can we modify it? Can we separate this composition into two parts, that in the morning and afternoon we can give only the neuroprotective and the cognitive enhancer drugs like Brahmi, Shankhapushpi and others, and the other part we can give at the bedtime the laxatives. Is it possible? This is the question.
Sir, in case of laxatives, sir, I feel that the churna formulations, they exhibit the laxative effect more rather than in the ghee, because the dose of the drugs here and as in churna form, they are different. And for this formulation, typically I feel that to take a decision whether to part the formulation, whether to classify, I think we must first go for some gut microbial interactions, because I have gone through many papers where the restoring of the commensal bacteria is a major role now in psychological disorders. So instead of fecal transplants and all, people are now looking for certain solutions in traditional medicine. So maybe apart from the laxative property, because in case of laxatives also, certain colonies of bacteria, all are not washed out. The consortium has lakhs and lakhs of different colonies of bacteria, and hence I think we should first concentrate as a systemic approach for this formulation, and then only we can come to a conclusion whether to classify them and move ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Harishi, thank you. Very important question. Before we move on to Anaga, there is another question that's come up in our chat box. Chat box
Dr.
here.
Madan, Dr. Gita Krishnan has joined. Before he power drains out, I don't know what's his power source. So you want to get him to speak?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Naranji. Thank you. Anaga, we will save this question that's come out here in the chat box on Aushadhi Seva Kala, and whether there is something you wanted to say. We'll come to this after we've heard from Geetaji. Geetaji, namaskaram. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for joining us from sunny Geneva. Looks like you are in lovely weather in Geneva. Welcome to our platform.
It's quite warm. Thank you, sir.
You have traveled in from India, fresh from India. Were you on business in India related to the Global Center for Traditional Medicines?
In a way, yes, but I was also having some other work related to ICD development for an ICD module development for traditional medicine. So I was there. There were the three. Can you hear me?
We can hear you clearly. Thank you.
What I would do is I would switch off my camera, because if I keep far away, so that you have to
run out of juice. Yes, but can you see us clearly. Can you see us all clearly?
Yeah, I can see you very clearly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ghita ji. We are number one, we are very fortunate to have you here with us. Thank you. It's unfair of us to catch you straight as you come out of the airport. Even before you could freshen up, we've had you here. But this is this just conveys very nicely your commitment to Ayurveda and your desire to be here with us. Thank you for joining us. We are here today, as you can see from the platform. The key ingredients of this platform include Canada-India Foundation, the Canada College of Ayurveda and Yoga, the Council General of India in Toronto, and we are discussing traditional Ayurvedic medicines. And the vision is that over the next approximately 2 years, we'll be looking at 75 different traditional Ayurvedic medicines that are known for thousands of years in the Indian systems and are known to be safe and have benefited people over the millennia. I know you are interested in the whole area of essential medicines. Now, where do you think your vision for what WHO is doing, you've seen the growth of this new center in Jamnagar, where do you think we can see an interaction between Canada and the WHO in Geneva, and also the headquarters in Geneva, and also the PAHO region, which services North America? Where do you think we can see interactions? And before you answer this one, just to brief you that there is a big collaboration you are aware of between university health networks here in Toronto, along with the All India Institute of Ayurveda, a memorandum of understanding that was signed at the opening of the center in Jamnagar. So with all of these things, where do you think we should be going, and where do you think WHO can engage in speeding up this interaction?
Madanji, thank you for actually giving me like leads to think about and answer. Really kind of you, because as you said, I had just landed and totally like not clear in my mind. So it is very, very good that you had actually given me the direction. First of all, let me thank the Canada-India Foundation, Tathastu, like the Embassy of India and the Consulate General of India in Canada for having provided me this opportunity to talk in this wonderful program. I think it's extremely important, and I think Canada is a very, very important part of the wheel, which will move forward to create a environment where Ayurveda can be a
we are losing Ghita.
Which
we are losing
available across the globe and accepted across the globe. So I'm leading that and and promoting this process. Madanji, is it better?
We are losing your signal just a little bit. I don't know. Please continue. I will.
Now it seems better. Now
yes.
It seems better,
Yeah.
Dr.
If there is a problem.
Please continue, Ghitaji.
Okay. Okay. So regarding the what
we have apologies for this. We have lost Ghitaji.
Talking about as the culmination as on today, formation or the establishment of the Global Center for Traditional Medicine in India. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Hello?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you can hear me. Yes. Yeah. So it's a process which is in the Global Center of Traditional Medicine is a process which has reached the current status, which started about about 5-6 years before. We have been working very closely with the WHO as a ministry and as a group of people from Ayurveda working very closely with WHO in developing several supportive elements for the propagation and acceptance of Ayurveda across the globe, which
we have apologies for this. We have lost
started with
Geeta
the
ji.
development of the. There has been an. Can you hear me, Madanji?
We can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So there has been in existence since 2010 a training benchmark document from WHO for Ayurveda, but which had several difficulties in terms of implementation. Because it didn't take into consideration many of the existing systems and existing ways of training available for Ayurveda across the globe, and different systems and different regulatory processes across the globe. So we have created an updated version of it in 2022 and published it. Also, at the same time, we also created a benchmark for practice of Ayurveda, which is supposed to give a guidance to the regulators to decide how they could regulate Ayurvedic practice in places where Ayurveda is not yet a regulated system, as well as allow regulators or clinical practitioners to decide how they want to establish a Ayurvedic clinical practice in places where regulatory system is in existence. So it is, and these two documents are very well connected. So that is one major step that WHO has taken. And I think it is slowly bringing in changes in many parts of the world, especially even in very in places where Ayurveda is very well entrenched, but has a lot of but not well regulated. So requires a regulatory framework. So we are trying to, or in a way, we have been able to change the discussion or focus of the discussion to follow the guidelines. So that has been a really good, in terms of training and as well as in terms of practice and regulation, acceptance, et cetera, of Ayurvedic practitioners. So I think it's a work in progress. As I said, even the implementation of the benchmark documents is a work in progress. Probably in next 5 to 10 years, we will see much more countries regulating Ayurveda using these documents. Second, we have been able to also develop and should be able to publish the standardized terminologies for Ayurveda. As you very well know, Madanji, and most of the researchers and other community, other people who are interested in Ayurveda, Ayurvedic terminologies are not very well understood by even different groups of Ayurvedic people have different ideas about what the terminology means, and not to talk about people who are outside the Ayurvedic spectrum. So we are creating an internationally standardized terminology for Ayurveda, which I think will allow modern medicine and scientists and regulators and other people who are interested in Ayurveda to utilize and understand Ayurveda much better in a format which is uniformly accepted by all Ayurvedic people across the globe. So this is something which should be published by the year 2022 and will be a huge support for research and regulation of Ayurveda across the globe, and even in communication, in appropriate communication. So that is the second one which we are doing right now. Third, we are in the process of developing developing and including the Ayurvedic mobility as a in a formatted in the format of the ICD, International Classification of Disease Codes, in the 11th edition of ICD, which is coming out, which has been published or which has started implementation in 2022. So people who, like many of us, are not aware of what ICD means, but ICD is the International Classification of Diseases, and it is based on the these classification and codes that countries actually recognize and identify which are the different diseases which are occurring in their country, the number of diseases or different varieties of diseases happening, or the spectrum of diseases happening in their country, and also identify the mortality reasons within their country, why deaths happens and why people get unhealthy, etc. When you cannot be, when your inputs in health sector cannot be counted, it cannot be understood and read by people who are outside the realm of Ayurveda or other similar health systems. So what happens is, without understanding what is the use of Ayurveda in the society, many a time the policymakers are not able to decide on how to give or provide resources for the development and the utility of Ayurveda, and neither are they able to decide on how to utilize Ayurveda in specific conditions. So this is a major problem, and even in countries like India, with a lot of data available, and also in Nepal, Sri Lanka, etc., and even in countries like Malaysia, or even in new countries like where Ayurveda has been recognized, like Switzerland. You do not know that Ayurveda is useful. Ayurveda is useful in several conditions, but if you look at how many people have been treated for what kind of a specific disease, and what kind of benefit has been incurred, or how many people are going for Ayurvedic treatment, etc., this data is not available, and that has been a major problem. So with the inclusion of Ayurvedic terminologies within the ICD, will allow the governments to and as well as researchers to count the diseases in terms of Ayurvedic terminology, and then classify them and say that, okay, so and so diseases do come for Ayurvedic treatment, and so many number of people are coming for it, and therefore it requires more and more specific intervention or inputs and resources. So in terms of policy and in terms of resources, this is going to be a huge step, and the inclusion of Ayurvedic terminology in the ICD-11, and it will have a definite impact in the way in which policymakers and researchers research data is being analyzed, as well as policymakers is going to be looking at Ayurveda in future. So these are some of the major steps which WHO has taken towards the establishment of a system wherein which Ayurveda can be utilized by different people, or it can become accessible to the general public across the globe. Now, you can see that this is a gradual progression. Like first we wanted to see how we can create the benchmarks for telling governments how to regulate Ayurveda. Then we wanted to say, okay, Ayurvedic regulation is not itself enough. It needs to be communicated properly. So we created the benchmark, like the standard terminology documents for Ayurveda. And then we understand that, to create policy and to create make available resources, you require to count the number of cases or diseases which are being taken care of through Ayurveda. So then comes the question of that's how the ICD terminology or ICD coding process started. So these are projects which we have been working on since past 5 years, or rather I should say 4.5 years, almost 4 years, and then almost 2.5 years for these three projects. And I think the benchmark documents have been published. It will start getting implemented across the globe in different countries, or countries will start using it. The terminology documents will be published this year, before the end of this year, and the ICD program should be available and implemented by early 2024. So we are seeing a renaissance in the way in which Ayurvedic is are evolving, and the way in which people are looking at Ayurveda with resources, or the governments are looking at Ayurveda with resources, especially the government of India. So this is a major step, and you can see that Global Center for Traditional Medicine is an evolution from this. It's a progressive evolution from these developments which had happened in WHO in the past 4.5 years. what had happened is since 2005, the WHO had kept asking governments on what is their requirement for utilizing traditional medicine, how they would utilize traditional medicine more appropriately. Every single time, like they have asked this question in 2005, then they asked this question again in 2009, 2013, and 2019. So every single time, whenever these questions were asked to the governments, the most important thing, the governments have replied to WHO. Means more than 80% of the governments each and every time has replied to WHO saying that we require more support in research and research-based evidence for utilizing traditional medicine in their system. And WHO has not been able to provide an appropriate platform or a mechanism for doing this. And Global Center for Traditional Medicine is the answer for that. Indian government is spending a lot of money and effort in this, and therefore will have a major say in this. It will not be only for Ayush systems or only for Ayurveda, but it will have a major impact in the, or Ayurvedic thoughts and Ayurvedic ideas will have a major impact in its decision making in terms of what is the kind of research to be done, what kind of data should be collected, where and when they should be collecting data and how it should be analyzed, etc. At the same time, they will also be useful in improving policy directives to the governments or advocacy to the government, saying that, okay, you see, these are the areas where Ayurveda or other traditional systems of medicine are useful, and this is how they should be utilized within your resources or within your geography. So that's a long-term process. It is not something which is going to happen immediately. This center is going to be a permanent outpost of WHO headquarters. It is not connected to any regional office. It is not connected to any country office. It is WHO itself. It is WHO headquarters itself functioning from India. And that's a major achievement which has happened in the past 4.5 years of India's work in WHO, and it will have its impact in future. Regarding the way in which Canada can utilize this system of this Global Center for Traditional Medicine, of course, basically it could be in helping the Canadian government to come to a conclusion on how and when and where Ayurveda should be utilized based on data available from other environments which are similar to Ayurveda, other regulatory systems which are similar to Canada, or environments which are similar to Canada, and then see, and disease patterns, like population disease patterns similar to Canada, and then see whether Ayurveda has been useful in such conditions and extrapolating that to be useful in Canada. At the same time, it will also be useful to support decision making on safety of drugs, drug interactions. It will also give a global platform for pharmacovigilance activities, reporting of adverse events, if any, connected to Ayurvedic drugs or interventions. At the same time, it will as important as it will also provide opportunities for governments to know the benefits of Ayurvedic medicines and interventions. So both ways it will function, and it will be a very, very useful tool which governments and universities can utilize for creating funding opportunities. When I say creating funding opportunities, I would say that association with WHO usually can help organizations to get better funding from their own countries or other organizations. So that could be something which many could be explored in many ways. One with the establishment of GCTM. So I think one more thing which would be of interest to the audience here is that WHO is also developing an international pharmacopoeia for herbal medicine, which will include medicines like Ayurvedic medicines also, and will form a global, a global repository or a global reference book for pharmaceutical regulators to look at and see, okay, these are the drugs, for which has been included in the Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia and international pharmacopoeia, and these are the medicines which the WHO recommends for specific disease conditions. We will also be describing what are the minimum standards which the country should utilize for regulating such medical such medicines in their across the globe. We are trying to create a common uniform standardization process and criteria for accepting different forms of drugs, including what Dr. Anaka mentioned about, like, what will be available in AFI. Many of the drugs from AFI will also find place in the Ayurvedic, in the international herbal pharmacopoeia. So that will be another major work which will come out from WHO, which will support the utility and better, safe accessibility of Ayurvedic medicines to different parts and different countries. And Canada will definitely gain from that, because Canada has a very unique herbal medicinal product registration process, which is also being considered in the development of the international herbal pharmacopoeia. So many criteria which will be included in the pharmacopoeia will resonate well with the Canadian regulatory system. So it will make much more easier for Ayurvedic products to be accepted and regulated within the Canadian system. I think I have covered most of your question, Madanji, and if there is something else I can.
Ghitaji, thank you so much for elaborating so many issues, so many points. So the challenges, before you came on to us, we were just discussing about the challenges of these kind of international discussions and the diplomacy challenges and all of those. You have seen it in the heart of WHO sitting in Geneva. The Canadian group here, that is the Canada-India Forum, feel that much more can be done in a shorter space of time. And to justify this, their call, I'm taking the liberty of sharing 2 or 3 screens here. I hope you can see our screen, Ghitaji. Number 1 is from the contributions page of the World Health Organization. Canada is a very important player. For those who can see, who are joining us online, they'll be able to see this link. I'll put this on the chat box. Canada as a partner in global health. I want to draw attention to this one image here about the contribution to WHO. Canada is the 5th largest member state donor to WHO and the 9th largest overall in 2021. You can see on that bar chart there on the left. Along with that, we have major contributor Germany, plus the European Commission, which are big contributors. Of course, America has contributions from the government and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And also UK is a very big player in this thing. So that is one. From the Canada perspective, I want to highlight that there are 33 WHO collaborating centers in Canada. And here is a list of the collaborating centers. And there are many who feel much more can be done, particularly institution like the one in Toronto, which is where the Canada-India Foundation is based. And we have the WHO Collaborating Center on Health Promotion. And there are many aspects here, the subjects they are interested in: health promotion, education, healthy cities, the wider social determinants of health, research, training, education. And the list is long. And here is one very important organization, the Dalai Lama School of Public Health at the University of Toronto. And you can see the very creative programs they are developing, Masters in Public Health in Black Health, starting fall of next year. And this is the spectrum of activity that we have in Canada. Another very important point that Canada is offering the table is that it is one of the few countries in the world that actually recognizes today Ayurveda within the federal regulations. And they have a national occupational classification here. And within that, you can actually see a use of this term Ayurvedic practitioner. So Canada feels that WHO in Geneva is too slow. Is that a fair assessment? Geeta? So people in Canada feel that WHO in Geneva is too slow with picking up the baton and running with it and taking that message to the whole world. I don't know if you want to comment on this, Geeta?
Yes, I would be very happy because I know about the importance of Canada, and thanks again for actually bringing it out, and especially the way in which Canadian government supports many of the activities of WHO. The question here would be, Madanji, would the Canadian government, the health ministry, the ministerial organizations working with WHO be ready to, or the mission in Geneva, or even the health ministry working with PAHO, be ready to bring this up as an issue in traditional medicine and discuss further on this, on how there should be better utility of the resources which Canada or within WHO for traditional medicines research and its utility, regulation, support, etc. Because if Canada does that, the kind of impact it has will be huge in WHO's perspective about traditional medicine and its way in which it will start looking at it. Even now with countries like India, China, Brazil, and all putting their effort seriously behind it, there has been considerable interest within WHO for traditional medicine. But if a major country, major contributor like Canada also joins this request and talk very specifically on what could be the areas where WHO should be looking at, then I think it will have an impact. So if I think that can be done by.
Thank you, Hari. Thank you, Geeta. I get your point. I think there's a comment here from Satish Thakurji, who's the chair of the Canada.
And if that is required, initially we can matter. And
I give the floor to Satishji. Satishji, you have heard the challenge that Geetaji is posing to us by saying, so on one hand, we have statistics showing it's the 7th largest contributor to World Health Organization's funds, and Canada already recognizes not only Ayurvedic practitioner within the classifications that they have, the federal classification, it also recognizes homeopathy as part of a recognized system, at least in your region of Canada. Now, what Geetaji is saying is it needs to escalate into a political message. And you are in the correct position to guide us in this and see how we can take all this that we have discussed today and take it up to the next stage where there will be a request from the federal government, from the regional government, federal government, to the regional office. So it cannot be a request to WHO Geneva. It has to go via the regional office, the PAHO office. And how can we take this forward? And what would you like to hear from Geetaji joining us from WHO headquarters?
No.
Madanji, before Satishji answers, I would also suggest that he could we could think about a direct communication to WHO headquarters is also fine. That's not a problem.
I hope that doesn't. Geetaji, because I know there is a protocol that all the communications must go to the regional office, but if you say we can communicate directly.
No, it is the other way around. It is the other way around. If we can communicate with the countries only through the regional office and the country office, but a request sent directly to the HQ, anybody can send anything to the HQ. That's not a problem. So that communication can definitely happen. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying this, Satishji.
Yeah, no, thank you so very much, Madanji, and Dr. Geeta. Thank you so very much, and it's very honored and proud and privileged to have you with us this morning. And I was very inspired by all the 3 initiatives which you mentioned. Standardizing all the terminology and the other processes, I think, which is going to be very, very helpful. At Canada India Foundation level, we've been advocating, we are a policy advocacy group, and at various political level, wherever we see an opportunity, we've been advocating very, very strongly that how Ayurveda or integrated medicine, which is the need of the hour, is important in curtailing our healthcare budget. You know, Canada is a publicly funded healthcare system, and major burden on our finances is on the healthcare system. Take an example within Ontario, like over 40 to 45% of the budget is being spent on healthcare. And I think Ayurveda, through the prevention aspect of it, I think we can save a lot. And as you rightly said, it always comes down to the evidence-based research. Whenever we have our interaction and discussion with the UHN, take an example, and through our MOU, which we are now in the process of setting up a steering committee, it's always come the point to that how we can support as a research. And I think your today's insight is going to be very helpful. And we are looking forward to having maybe a separate discussion along with the various stakeholders from UHN. That's number one, where who will actually will become our kind of a torch bearer when we are having the discussion with the policy makers here, that how and what kind of a current low-hanging fruits we have, on which they can capitalize right away, implement some kind of a pilot project, and move forward. There is a willingness as Canada is kind of struggling through how to improve the healthcare delivery service because of the constraint on the financial resources. And I think this Ayurvedic, with this integrated medicine and introducing Ayurveda to every household as a part of some kind of a project-based, more awareness-based, and how some of these herbs and medicine, which we have also picked up almost 75, can be used for the holistic health, for the prevention, and disease management could come at a secondary level, right? Keeping the good health of the healthy person is also very important. So looking forward to having more interaction and more discussion on a side from this today's platform. And I think we will devise a strategy, we'll come up with some kind of a solution that how we can be a part of this discussion in terms of reaching out to various policymakers, getting them engaged. So having civil society kind of a willpower from the political will and also the institutional will. Like when we combine all three, I think we'll be able to create a force which will start a new era of integrated medicine, which everybody today is looking forward to as a proper healthcare delivery service. Over to you,
Satishji. Thank you so much. Thank you for clarifying this important driver, which is the civil society engaging with what society needs and taking it to the government. I think your role here is going to be very important for us. And we are delighted that Ghita ji has joined us from Geneva today. Ghita ji, I don't know how you offer time, whether you will stay with us. Are you able to take a few more questions? I just want to invite, if I may, Ashlesh Raut ji joining us from Chicago. Ashlesh ji, if you have a question for Ghita ji, please feel free to. Ashlesh ji did her BMS MD studies in India and has been in North America, in Canada, in USA for many years now. We're happy you have joined us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Madanji, and thank you, CIF, as well as Canada, CAPA, Canada Association of Ayurvedic Practitioners, for inviting here. And it's really an honor and pleasure to be with you all, delegates, this whole seminar, which has been organized so well, the series of lectures so well, that we really need such kind of thing I'm very happy that Dr. Ghita Krishnan ji has mentioned this, and I'm actually glad to see that we are developing ICD, and which is going to be published. I'm very excited to hear that in 2022 he said that WHO will be publishing that this international standardization terminology in Ayurveda, and I think that is really crucial. What I'm seeing from US, that where we really struggle to explain these things to not only general public but also in the research aspect, that we really don't understand, people really don't understand, or the not just people but the all the major taker of Ayurveda and who are really interested in doing these things, they are not able to understand what we are trying to say, and there is that whole problem is occurring. So I am really looking forward to that. That's what I would like to say. In fact, these kind of discussions, if we could do, we can help in developing that much rigorously, these dialogues about Ayurveda and research, which is so much needed in this hour of time.
Ashley, thank you so much for sharing this viewpoint from United States of America. You have a lot of experience of that environment where the difficulties are sometimes even more than in other parts of the world. You might well know there is an ongoing interaction between CCRAS, the Center Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, and the National Cancer Institute. And we feel the same difficulties sometimes, the terminology issue. But what you have suggested today is something that we can take forward, perhaps together with Canada India Foundation and Canada College of Ayurveda and Yoga, and with Satish ji and Harish ji. We will try, together with yourself from USA, we'll try and put together a forum where we can bring, particularly on that aspect of terminology, and Ghita ji and his colleagues from WHO and India will join us. We will now move on. I invite all of you to stay on. Ghita ji, if you're able to stay with us, there are a few more questions that will come later on. But first of all, thank you.
I would like to leave because, I think
I know you are.
back.
Thank you, Ghita ji. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, number one. And please, Satish ji will connect with yourself so that we can take forward some of these discussions today, particularly the very important role that Canada has as the 7th largest donor to WHO funds. And with 33 WHO collaborating centers in Canada, it provides a very vibrant environment, and together with the university health networks, where we are already going into the deep research aspects, clinical research, basic research, fundamental research, there's an opportunity between Canada and WHO and ground level networks to make a new perspective that will give the world the impression that Ayurveda is moving faster than what it is doing right now. So thank you once again. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for elaborating so clearly some of the challenges that you faced and the ongoing discussions. As you said, 5 to 10 years, some people feel is not a long period to wait, but there are a lot of people who feel 5 to 10 years is too long to wait. So this is one of those issues, but let us discuss this, and we will trouble you to join us and guide us in the future as we go along. Welcome back to Geneva. And let you continue and take care of your needs as you come back to work. Namaste. Thank you. Namaste, Ghita. We will move on to our second speaker, but once again, I want to thank Ghita ji for joining us just as he got out of his flight from New Delhi and sharing so clearly the needs. And I feel, Satish ji, your role there as chairperson of the Canada India Foundation, you are able to take this early interaction that we've had and take it forward together with New Delhi, together with America, together with other parts of the world. And Canada can be a big catalyst and a very powerful catalyst to speed up what you've been pointing to, that it must become something that must be aware in every family, not only how to cure disease, but also promote health, for which there is already a WHO collaborating center in Toronto. We will take those discussions forward. And also preventing disease. Ayurveda has a big role. I know we are passionate about these things. Please let us continue those discussions. And I think all of us here want to thank Ghita Krishnanji for joining us from Geneva and sharing his thoughts. Thank you so much, Ghita-ji. And we move on to our next panel speaker today, Naveen-ji. Naveen-ji, namaskar. Naveen-ji, thank you so much for joining us today from Uttarakhand. Now, for those who—
No, sir, I'm not in Uttarakhand now. I am in Kolkata, West Bengal.
In Calcutta. So you're somewhere, I gather you're on travel in a hotel room somewhere in Calcutta, but we can hear you very clearly. This is the power of this technology. We connect the world. And thanks to Canada-India Foundation, it's bringing people together and holding vibrant discussions, very meaningful discussions at the cutting edge topics of the world today, health and aspects of health and traditional Ayurvedic medicine. For those who are, for those who don't know about Naveen-ji, Naveen is associate professor at in one of the Ayurveda universities in India, in Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand is also in Hindi known as Dev Bhumi, the land of the gods. It is a part of the world which is very special. Just this very small state of Uttarakhand has over 100 mountain peaks that are over 6,000 meters high. And we welcome you.
Thank you, sir.
Naveen-ji, thank you for joining us. Naveen-ji also runs a very vibrant discussion group. Maybe he will tell us a little bit about it. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you, Canada-India Foundation, Canada College of Ayurveda and Yoga, Tathastu, Traditional Ayurveda Medicine, especially President Canadian College of Ayurveda, Vaidya Harish Verma-ji, Professor Madan Thangavelu-ji, Satish Thakkar-ji, Chair CIF, Asisha Rawat-ji, and Ghita Krishnan-ji. I just heard about all the updates, whatever going on in the WHO. So basically, just you introduced me. I am associate professor in Uttarakhand Ayurveda University. And basically, Uttarakhand is already known as the Dev Bhumi. And a lot of plants and a lot of herbal heritage is present there. And we are very proud that that we are working in our institution. There is a department of biomedical department in which the research works already carried out. So today, Harish Verma ji told me about this Brahmi Ghrita, and we are using these preparations in our OPD and clinic. So I will just discuss about the clinical importance. So I just shared my screen. I think that it is visible.
It's coming up. It is coming up, Naveen-ji. Please give it.
So I'm just sharing the next. The Brahmi Ghrita, it is a very vibrant preparations we are using in our OPD as being a Panchkarma practitioner. As you all know that it is a Brahmi Ghrita. It is a Brahmi Ghritam. It is an Ayurvedic medicated ghee, clarified butter that is used mainly for treating and preventing many ailments related with the central nervous system, improving memory, and treating stress disorders. It also improves the intelligence, cognitive function, and learning skill. During our OPD experience, we are using this Brahmi Ghrita instantly as a Sadhya Sneha also. Actually, what happens where we are running a OPD and Marma OPD, where so many patients are coming who are suffering from the geriatric problems, as well as many problems like Alzheimer's and cognitive disorders, in which we are prescribing this Brahmi Ghrita. And as to the Ghrita, the Brahmi Ghrita and the Ghrita, I just want to mention a main quality of the Ghrita is Sanskarya Anuvartanat. Means Ghrita don't lose its own quality when you mix other drugs like Brahmi or any other preparations, formulations. Ghrita doesn't lose its own quality. That's why the Sanskarasana Anuvartanat, means it takes the properties of other medicines. And so that's why we are using many Ghrita like Triphala Ghrita and other Ghritas for Sadhya Sneha, as well as in the pre-operative procedures of the Panchkarma, in which we are giving Ghrita in just gradually increasing doses for doing the Shodhana, that is the Vamana or Virichan, whatever we are doing, we are using this Brahmi Ghrita. Classical references already, I think that previous our expert speaker already given these are the ingredients of this Brahmi Ghrita, in which the Brahmi is the main constituent, while the Sunthi, Maricha, Pippali, Shyama, Trivrta, Adanti, Shankhapushpi, and the Aragvada, as well as the Saptala and the Vidanga, most the Kramihara Draga. These are the main ingredients, classical ingredient of this Brahmi Ghrita, which is explained in the Ashtanga Hridaya, Uttarasthana, chapter number 6. So already you know about this formulation. So if you look the ingredients of this Brahmi Ghrita, you look the Maricha, the Pippali, the maximum of the medicines are the Agni Dipaka, as well as the Brahmi itself. You all know that it is intellect promoting and Medya Drabya. So we are already using these medicines for maintaining the cognitive functioning, as well as in OPD, as well as in IPD. We are using these this Ghrita for reducing the mental fatigue. And many of the patients who are coming in our OPD for the epileptic seizures, so we are giving this medicine for also reducing the episodes of the epileptic seizures. While so many patients, as I am looking the Swasthamrita OPD also, so many patients are coming in our OPD for the depression as well as the anxiety. So we are prescribing this Ghrita. And sometimes after the post-COVID, many patients are coming in our OPD for general weakness and nervous weakness. We are prescribing this medicine and as per the dose related with the age. So I just collected some of the research work which I got from in the internet. So there are some links of these research works in which the beneficial effect of the Brahmi Ghrita on learning and memory in normal rat. This is the link if you want to go through these links, while the critical review on effect of Brahmi Ghrita in psychiatric disorders. While one research I also just found efficacy of an Ayurvedic formulation, Brahmi Ghrita in epilepsy. These are some links of the research work which carried out. If you look the main ingredient of this Brahmi Ghrita, it is very, I just taken this photograph from the Himalayan Kumaon region, where it is very common. If you look the special feature of this plant and the leaves of this plant, you just look the structure of the brain also. So most noteworthy benefit of the Brahmi is that it improves the cognitive skill and stimulates the mind to improve the memory and concentration. Many of the researchers found that the 6 weeks of daily treatment with Bacopa twice a day led to improvements in test results relating to cognitive functions. And the Ghita, I already mentioned that the cow ghee has proved itself through its tremendous applications in treating various chronic disorders, from respiratory diseases to the neurological disorders. There are various benefits which made it capable of being a foundation in Ayurvedic science and an incredible part of ancient medical science. The Indian history and traditions have gifted mankind this precious element, Ghita, overloaded with the richness and godness. So we are using this Ghita for the Purva Karma, that is by doing for the pre-operative procedures in Panchkarma in form of the Abhyantara Snehapana. So again, I am just explaining how ghee has proved itself to be a tremendous base for Ayurvedic formulations. And we just know it as a clarified butter. It is an excellent adjuvant. We are using many for using as an anupana, and it facilitates the proper absorption and digestion of the therapeutic formulations. Moreover, ghee is considered as a rasayana, as you all know that it also enhances the medha smriti. There is a sloka which is in the Charaka Samhita that dirgham mayu smriti medha arogyam tarunam vayam prabha varna swarodarya de indriya balam param. Labho payo hi sastanam rasadinam rasayanam. So Ghrita is also used for good health and longevity. So our ancestors are also taking this Ghrita in the pure form, clarified butter, for their good health and longevity. It is believed to balance the Vata and Pitta, as well as the concept, the ghee has no moisture and water content, so it can be preserved for a long time. And we are using the Purana Ghrita for treating the mental problems like Unmada and Apasmara. So moreover, due to this reason, the natural potency or herbs remains the same. And as the ghee ages, the effectiveness and healing properties increases. As I explained that in Unmada and Apasmara, the Purana Ghrita, use of the Purana Ghrita is already mentioned. Consuming ghee can facilitate the detoxification of ama or toxins out of the body to the digestive tract, and it acts as a fuel that is for enhancing the smriti and buddhi intellect. So sunthi, another ingredient which is just a composition of this Brahmi Ghrita, we all know it is a Vishnu Bhesaj due to its many uses. And we are using the sunthi as a natural painkiller in many of the ailments like rheumatoid arthritis, or as for just pain management. We are using the sunthi for abdominal colic pain, joint pain, headaches, and menstrual pain, as it balances vata dosha in body. Next ingredient is Trivrita. Trivrita is a very widely used herbal drug. We all know it is best among the laxative drugs. It is the Rechana Dravya. The Rechana is also a very important part, as whenever we are not giving a proper Sodhana, then we add some medicines for the Rechana, for Suddhi, for Shodhana. So the importance of Trivrita is also very much known. The maximum number of formulations are reported for their indications in Gulma, abdominal lump, followed by the Jwara and Prameha, Raktapitta. This Trivrita is used in different doses in the Churna, Kwatha, Krita, Taila, Lipa forms. And Danti, the another ingredient, which is also a white croton. It is an important medicinal plant traditionally used for the management of various ailments, and Danti is beneficial for managing constipation due to strong laxative property. It speeds up the bowel movements and helps in the easy passage of stool. So this Danti is also very important. And the one major ingredient of the Brahmi Ghrita is Shankhapushpi. According to Ayurveda, we all know the Shankhapushpi helps to calm down the brain and relieve stress as well as anxiety. It also improves memory by acting as a brain tonic due to its Medhya intelligence promoting property. Saptala, one of the ingredients of this Brahmi Ghrita, it pacifies the vitiated pitta, skin disease, burning sensation, constipation, calculi, hemorrhoids, vitiligo, and eczema. And Avaltas, it is well known, it is especially used in joint pain, migraine, chest pain, blood dysentery. So it is very useful also for in treating fever, heart disease, retained excretions, and biliousness. It is also used in cardiac disorders, biliousness, rheumatic conditions, hemorrhages, wounds, ulcer, boils, and various skin diseases. And the Vidanga, we all know the Vidanga is a very useful herb to manage worm infestations. That includes the threadworm, roundworm, and types of worms due to its cremigna property. The Vidanga controls the vomiting, nausea, indigestion, flatulence due to its hot potency. It also helps manage constipation due to its Rechana property. And so finally, in our OPD or in our IPD patients, what we have observed that the Brahmi Ghrita, it is a polyherbal Ayurvedic formulation in which many of the composition of the herbs are just included in different proportions, and it is recommended we are using this preparations of Brahmi Ghrita in the management of various psychological disorders, as in the form of Purana Ghrita in Unmada and Apasmara, and also in the Bala or Graha Rogas, which is mentioned in the Kashaya Samhita we are using. And there are so many studies in which the pharmacological, there's some links as there in which the Brahmi Ghrita and its physicochemical analysis, you can find this from this link in which the Brahmi Ghrita has a good properties with revealing the quality and genuineness of all the constituents of the Brahmi Ghrita. So Brahmi Ghrita, I already explained about this constituents. So I'm just concluding my presentation. So thanks a lot again. And I hope that many more researchers, as already explained by, is needed in this formulation, how it works, how the pharmacological principle is behind this formulations, and how we are, how this preparation is effective when we are giving in Sadhya Sneha. This should be awaited in the coming, I think that coming research projects.
Thank you so much for, number one, being with us today. And one point, if I may, is about how this formulation is used in outpatient department that you mentioned, particularly epileptic conditions. I asked this question just to put this discussion today in the context of University Health Networks, which is the organization running out of Toronto, and with a view to seeing if there is an opportunity for an interaction between your university, Uttarakhand Ayurveda University, and University Health Networks here in Toronto. And to just provide the context, I'm just highlighting here the UHN network, which I had shared earlier, and also the number of researchers in this area. Geeta ji mentioned that we need to dialogue in that research space. And here is the research going on at the University Health Networks in Toronto. And these are the number of researchers who are working in epilepsy. And they are clinical research or basic research. I won't go into the details now, but this is just to help us look at that one key point that Geeta ji said about research. Do you feel we can bring this something together, with Harish ji and with Satish ji there, to see if we can bring Uttarakhand Ayurveda University together with Canada India Foundation, please.
Your idea is very, very good, because the Uttarakhand Ayurveda University has a very good potential, as we are located just in the base of the Himalaya. And the need of the hour is that the herbal formulations which are available in India also, there are some adulteration also. So whatever Brahmi Ghrita, if you are going to market, take market from market, we don't say that this Ghrita is proper or not. So first of all, the thing is that the proper quality, standard maintenance of the Brahmi Ghrita. And another one is the clinical trial, like you mentioned in the epileptic cases. We have very limited drugs in treating and reducing the seizures in patients who are suffering from epilepsy. So many of the patients are coming, they are taking many allopathic drugs for reducing the episodes of epilepsy. So if there will be a joint venture between Canadian College of Ayurveda as well as the other institutions, or a memorandum of understanding for the research work between the Uttarakhand Ayurveda University, it is very, I think that it's very, very good. So we can work. So Harish ji can propose this through their organizations to our university headquarters, which is located in Dehradun. So definitely it will be very good.
Thank you. Thank you. What prompted me here was your mention about outpatient clinics, and you have confidence there. You're doing something that's benefiting people, and this is something the world needs to know. There are very fine other details that you mentioned about the Rechana Dravya. Rechana is, these are all terms, it fits in that area Geeta ji mentioned about terminology, confusion there, and that Ashlesh ji has mentioned, and how we can come together to somehow provide people the confidence, the patients, the policymakers, the clinicians, the researchers, that these are terms we have used for thousands of years. And we understand how it is to be. And maybe together with somebody like Anagaji in CCRAS, who's also touching on some key points, we can all come together. So I just want to see whether, Anagaji, would you like to add something here just to guide us on whether we can set up an interaction between CCRAS, Canada-India Forum, and the University Health Networks? Also, I would love to hear, after Anagaji, I just want to hear the Chicago perspective from Ashleshji. Anagaji, What?
Yes, sir, we can surely collaborate because we have a center at Bengaluru which targets mental health and mental disorders. So yes, we can surely collaborate, sir. We also have some drug development units. We can also look for the standardization part of this group. Yes, definitely, sir.
Anagaji, thank you so much. Now, could you say once again, where is the center, the CCRA center for the one?
Hello, sir. It is based in Bangalore.
Bangalore.
Bengaluru, okay. Sir. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. This is NIMHANS. Is it in NIMHANS, National Institute?
Yeah.
For,
yeah.
Okay, it's in NIMHANS. Thank you so much. I would love to hear from Ashlesh ji. Ashlesh, namaskar ji.
Yeah, so yes, absolutely. This is a wonderful idea. We should proceed something like this, taking, as I specifically mentioned, that mental health issues are really a lot, and where we have some Brahmi Ghrita, one of the very champion herb and product formulations, which we strongly believe in, and not only, mental health issues, but I would say all these other spectrums, ADHD spectrums, and all these areas also where we can definitely use Brahmi Ghrita, and something like this, a collaborative work study, we are always open to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you. I can see some, I think Pallavi has a question. Also, Harishi, namaskar. Let's take.
Namaskar, sir. I have one technical question to our experts. Why our acharyas have selected Ghritam or ghee to give to process Brahmi? Is it possible they may have thought of whether ghee preparations they may be taking the Brahmi to cross the blood-brain barrier in these central nervous system disorders? Is it possible?
Yes, sir. That's what I have depicted in the solutions for. Am I audible, sir?
We can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Rightly, because for deciphering the role, we need to actually unveil the role of this formulation on the basis of blood-brain barrier. Even we have Nasya therapy where we administer lipid-based formulations again. So yes, sir, you are right. We should do it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Pallavi, we have a colleague joining us from Nepal. Could we invite one of the attendees today joining from Nepal to just share a few words? We are very fortunate to have, I don't know if he's, Sharmaji, are you still here with us? Oh, I suspect he has left us. Pallavi, the floor is yours. Thank you.
I just want to comment and give this message to the audience that if anybody, all of us must have seen the religious procedures taking place and havan, where the pandit or the priest, he puts pours ghee, grut, which we are dealing with since almost an hour. How slowly he keeps on putting grut in the havan, which pradips, which ignites the fire. In a similar way, the same example is given in our texts also. While taking grut or ghee or clarified butter, it has to be taken in small quantities, and that's how it ignites our jataragani and helps in assimilation and absorption. And also, as our expert speakers have mentioned, that grut has it stays for a longer time in the gut. So I believe that is also one reason where these herbal medicated ghee or clarified butter is used, so that the assimilation of the herbal properties are well taken in the by the body. Thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi. I wish to invite Naranji to comment very briefly. Naranji, namaskar.
Namaskar. I think it is excellent to listen to the kind of initiatives with WHO and Dr. Krishnan. So it was very nice to him to know the kind of enormous effort which has gone inside. But I think it's also important that he works directly with the Ayurvedic practitioners and the other research institution. I think he needs to be armed and supported in some sense so that he could get his work done. I think right now it's largely the government of India which is the prime mover for this program. But I think it requires an enormous support from the practitioners so that his work can be armed to do it much faster. On the other side, I think it's today was a brief discussion. It just came to my thought. We should be able to have very focused discussion only on Canada and the initiatives what Canada is doing with WHO. If you're able to get one example and one experience to have seen and get it successfully regulated in Canada, then it becomes replicability becomes easy. So we should be able to do that also. And I don't know, so Dr. Harish and Dr. Madan and Satish ji knows, we should have a one-to-one discussion on specific initiatives of institutions in Canada and then see at the other side of it. So one is the input and the output of what we can get out of WHO. It seems to be very important. I think if we use it well, I understand there could be some limitations for any global institution. Unless there is a pandemic, things don't get done so very fast at the rate at which many others as professionals want it to happen. But this is a great case study. So I think we are close to getting this regularized in Canada, let's assume. But who's next? Where is next? What is our preparedness for that? Can be something to really think about. I can see a significant improvement in quality of our interaction and discussion. And that's very fine.
Thank you, Naranji. We will take this forward. We've got your message and what you want us to do, focus it onto one or two small interactions. And we will take this forward together with the Canada India Foundation and all our experts here, including our guests today, our expert speakers from CCRAS. We will get feedback from them and shape this further. Also with our experts from United States of America. We have many well-wishers there. We will bring them all together so that we generate a wider consensus that will be easy for people to appreciate, particularly in this area of mental health, long COVID, post-COVID. There are many dimensions where these things can be a great value. Thank you so much for guiding us here again today. And these sessions are meant to be tasters. And they are meant to get more people engaging with us. And I think we might have done justice to the fact that as a taster, we could convey so much in a short space of time about the importance, about the clinical usage and many other dimensions, including the very wide socio-political, techno, anthropo kind of interaction that is going on. Catalyzed by the power of technology. You can see how easily from different corners of the world we come together, we share our thoughts in such an easy way and come out with outcomes. So thank you for being with us today, Naranjit, and we look to your continued support. We are well past our 90-minute allocated to us. I take this opportunity to return the having thanked all of us who are here today. Ashleshji, thank you for joining. And thank you, Anagaji, thank you for a wonderful presentation. We've learned so much from this. And Joshiji, thank you for joining us today. Navinji, I know everybody is traveling, but they're able to join it with such ease. We will look forward to help and guidance from all of you to take forward what Naranji wanted here with us. I return the floor to Harishji. Harishji, thank you.
So, thank you very much. Now I request Dr. Palviji for vote of thanks. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Verma-ji and Madan-ji. This is such a valuable topic, and the time limit is really short. But seeking blessings from Lord Dhanvantari, I pray that we all get the wisdom and spread this message. With this, I thank the Canada India Foundation, Satish ji, for being so supportive, Canadian College of Ayurveda, and Yog for being with supporting this program. Our speakers, expert speakers, Dr. Anaga Ranade and Dr. Naveen Joshi have been excellent with their presentations. Thank you so much for your valuable time. Dr. Shlesha ji, thank you very much for being with us today. And over and above, Dr. Geeta Krishnan, who gave his such valuable inputs. We are really thankful for, in spite of just landing in Geneva, he spared time for all of us. So no words to appreciate. And with this, I thank the Consulate General of India in Canada for supporting this program, Canadian Ayurvedic Practitioners Association, European Ayurveda Association, and Association Ayurvedic Academy to being supporting this such a important event, which these series of lectures which is taking place. Thank you very much, Madanji, for being so instilling all these questions and making it so interesting. On behalf of International Ayurvedic League, I thank everybody, and special thanks to Harish Vermaji for having the vision to carry on this lecture series so that we can spread the message. And Tathastu, Pravasi Television, Vai Media, all of them have contributed enough. And my heartfelt thanks to everybody for your valuable time and support. Shriman Narendra ji, please don't mind. Sometimes, you know, you may miss out somebody. So pardon me for that. Thank you, everybody, for your valuable inputs. Next week, please join us again. We are going to speak on a very important topic, that is Dashmul Arishta, which is commonly used. It contains the Brahad Panchmul and Lagu Panchmul, that is the big roots and the small roots. So be prepared. Thank you. Enjoy your week. Bye-bye. Namaste.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Satishji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Harishji.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.